Hi, welcome to this brief tutorial on how to use the Department of Business Professional Regulations continuing education portal and how to enter courses for your continuing education to meet the requirement with the Department of Business Professional Regulation. Again, the first reporting period that's coming up is 6/30/2024. This is important to make sure that you have appropriately entered your hours, and this will be ongoing for future reporting cycles in future years. My name is Paul Brown. I'm with the Florida Institute of CPAs. I'm the Vice President of Professional and Technical Services. I am a CPA, and today we will be going over just how to enter some courses on my own personal time, or my own personal courses, just to give you some input or some a video of how to actually do it. Today, I'm joined by Roger. Would you like to introduce yourself, please?
So good afternoon, everybody. My name is Roger Scarborough, and I'm the director here with the Florida Board of Accountancy.
Okay, we're going to kind of go back and forth. Roger and I will go back and forth, but I wanted to share some screens and show you some things of what to do and what to prepare for before you start to enter your courses in the CPE reporting tool, just because it is important. So I'm going to briefly share my screen and looking at the FICPA CPE tracker. Let me get there real quick. Let's see here. Okay, here's the FICPA CPE tracker, and I know this is going out to more than just FICPA members. It's going out to all licensees. But if you take courses with the FICPA, if you go in and log into your account and go into the CPE tracker, you'll see your reestablishment reporting period, and this is my reestablishment reporting period. And you'll notice all your CPE history of your FICPA sponsored courses, etc. At the end of that, you can do this several times a year, one time a year, one time during the 2-year cycle. But I suggest, and I think Roger too, that you suggest that maybe doing this more than just one time at the end of your 2-year cycle, right? I have a calendar, personally, I have a calendar appointment at the end of every quarter to go in and enter my courses, but that's the way how I operate, and I know not everybody is like that, but I think, Roger, wouldn't you agree, maybe do it a couple of times every your 2-year period, or 2 or 3 times every your 2-year period? Wouldn't that kind of work out better, I think?
Yes, I actually really like your approach for quarterly. We've done several training sessions with firms and people at the firms who ride herd over this kind of activity and see that it gets done, and they're encouraging their people to do it on a quarterly basis.
Okay. So, and I think too, we had to be careful that not everybody tries to enter this at June 29th or June 30th, because if you have, what would we have, 18,000 licensees doing it at one time, Roger, it may overload the system.
Yes.
And that is a concern, right?
Yes. So we are strongly encouraging everybody, as you get courses completed, go ahead and input them in our system.
Okay. And for the FICPA, people use our tracker. All you would have to do is download their certificate of attendance here. When that certificate is printed, it does print similar to this one right here. And at the very end, it says FICPA courses are verified by Shelley Weir, our CEO. That is a signed document that can be uploaded into the system. So just want to show everybody that. Also, in our tracker, we have the ability that you can enter non-FICPA sponsored courses. I entered some, but not all. You can enter all of your non-FICPA here. Just know that that is not a certificate of attendance, but you can use this as a tracker to enter your courses. I use CPE because I'm sorry. I use Excel because I track my CPE. I do some instructor CPEs, which I get double credit, and we'll show you how to enter those hours. I also had to break my hours up into governmental and employee benefit plan audits just because of my job description and what I'm required to do. So I will also show you my CPE tracker that I use for in Excel. In fact, let me just go there right now to show you that screen real quick, and just so you have an idea of what it is. And Roger, you see in my Excel sheet
Yes, sir.
here? So
Yes, sir.
again, I go across, I got participant hours, instructor hours, total hours. I break it up into A&A, government, single audit, ERISA, etc. And I come over here in a total. And what I do like about Excel is over here in my far right, I have an uploaded to BOA. So I know what I have uploaded already into the system and what I don't have that's uploaded into the system. So that's a good way to know where I left off, right, Roger? So gives you an idea. Roger, let's go into the actual reporting tool and take a look at some of the things and how to get there and where to go from there, Roger. So everyone, when you log into myfloridalicense.com, you'll get a screen similar to this. And then the upper right, you'll see My Account. If you click on the My Account, it will take you to your login screen, correct, Roger, with your login information and your password, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to go to it.
If you happen to click on Online Services, another screen will come up and it'll give you an opportunity to get there too. So.
Okay. I'm going to bypass showing you my login name and screen and actually go to my main menu right here. So after you log on, you will get this screen similar to this screen. This is not confidential information. This is anybody can look up my license under the my license or the search for the license. And so if you need to click on this item here to take you to the reporting tool. So what it will do is we'll take you to this screen here. And there's two particular items you want to focus on here. Obviously, if you got all these other changes, that's one, but it's to report your continuing education, which is where you actually report your hours, and then view my continuing education. And let's go there first, Roger. And what you will see, it'll say view the requirements for a different renewal period. And you'll see that these periods are calendar year, even though your CPE is a June 30 fiscal year. Roger, you wanted to mention something about that and why they're seeing this?
Sure. So, so this system is used by several professions within DBPR, not just by CPAs. And so, and most professions, their CPE reporting period and their license period or license renewal period are married together, or they match up. But CPAs are different in that regard. So what you're going to see here are all look like calendar year dates, and they tie back to the easiest way I think of it is that if your license expires 12/31, either in 24 or in 25, right? And so, again, this screen will talk in terms of calendar years in 2-year increments. And so, like when Paul did the drop down, you can pull from different renewal periods, or you can select different renewal periods to input data. So we're using the current period, obviously, January 1st, 2023 to 12/31/2024. And then when Paul comes off that, you'll see that this is very much a summary screen. It is to show you if you've completed the A&A hours, which this column says required, it's just to the right of Paul's arrow or his cursor if you can see it. And so it shows that there's 8 hours of A&A required. There's a 4-hour ethics course, right? A Florida board approved ethics course. And then again, a total of 80 hours. And then you can tell, looking at Paul's records, that the column to the right shows that he's completed 8 hours of accounting and auditing and 4 hours of ethics, and he's done the total 80. And then if you drop into the section down below is where we get into offers, like if you were part way through it, you would see information about how many hours of A&A that you showed completed, and whether or not you had completed an ethics course.
Okay.
Again, if you were short, there's a column to the far right that's a shortfall, and it would point that out to you.
Okay. And Roger, just to let everyone know, you can enter more hours. I think I have 140 something hours or more entered right now at this point in time, but this is only going to show the minimum, whether you've met the minimum requirements. It's not going to show all of your hours that you've entered, but the system allows you to enter all the hours you want to enter, correct?
Yes, you're exactly correct.
Okay. Roger, another question has come up. What if they don't meet the 630 CPE reporting hours? Do the automatic extension hours get noted on this screen at all, or is that just something you have to be aware of?
No. So the cutoff for completing CPE hours is June 30th, right? And then you have until July 30th to input those courses into the system. But if you don't report by July 30th and the system can't see that you completed, the hours for that reestablishment period, then the requirements for an automatic extension are going to kick in on the system automatically. And so then the system's going to, so for the first automatic extension is to September 15th. And what is going to happen is the system requirements for A&A is going to double from 8 to 16 hours, right? And so they tell us, we haven't seen it yet, but I got my fingers crossed that after July 31st, the system requirements will change and it will reflect automatic extension. And then for those people who are aware of it, there is a second automatic extension that can extend you all the way to December 31st. And but with that requirement, again, you have to do another 8 hours of A&A for a total of 24 hours of A&A. Now, I'll point out to everybody that the first reporting period ends, due in your CPE, the deadline is June 30th. Then you got till July 31st to report. But with the extensions, those are hard dates. You have to have the hours completed and input or uploaded into the system by those deadlines.
Okay, good. Okay, let's go back and enter some information. One other item or question that we had several times is, at least here at the FICPA, is the ethics hours. Sometimes when we're looking at the ethics hours, and we'll take a look at entering those hours, but it requires a very specific code, right? And sometimes what some members are telling us, that at least if they take it from another provider other than FICPA, sometimes that code is difficult to see in the certificate. I'm not sure how it actually looks, but there's always a way they can go back to the department, right? I believe there's a way to actually look up the vendor and the approval code of those vendors for the ethics course, I believe. Is that correct, Roger?
That is correct. We provide a list of approved ethics courses on our website, and along with the title, the provider name, and the course title name, there are these 7-digit codes for ethics courses And the ethics course is unique in that we've had a lot of problem in the past with people completing an ethics course, but it turned out it's not a Florida board approved ethics course. And those to get that designation, has special requirements. And so anyway, this system requires you to input a DBPR course number in the system for you to get credit for an ethics course. So,
Okay.
And I think you're going to show them that.
Yeah. So let's go into report some continuing education. This is the report continuing education is where you actually enter your courses. When you go to that screen, it's going to take you through a number of different introductory screens. It gives you some instructions on if you're in state, if you're out of state, if you're an instructor CPE, what to do, and some out of state acknowledgement forms. We won't spend much time here, Roger, unless you have anything specific you want to point out to anyone.
I just would point out to anybody that if you doubt or concerned whether you're in out of state or in state, if you live in Florida, you're in state. I mean, you are subject to the in-state requirements. It's not. Some people think, well, I'm living in Florida, but I have a Georgia license.
Right.
They're considered they would be considered in state. So.
Okay. All right. Let's go to the next screen. So this will be an address detail summary. This is important to look at because you want to make sure you have current information in with the board, because your license renewal will be coming to your email address. Any notifications the board sends out, any possible complaints or anything that may be going against the licensee will come to this information. So it's very important to make sure you have the appropriate information. And if you don't, there's a way to update it by just clicking on that information. You can go in there and edit that information. But make sure that you go in there a few times a year, make sure nothing's changed, and make sure you got everything appropriate there. Okay, then the next screen is going to take you to where you actually enter. And you can see I have entered a lot of courses already. But I'm going to go down and show you how to actually enter some courses. And I will be going off of my tracker, which is Excel. And again, you can go off a tracker, whether it's FICPA, your own firm's tracker, or however that is. But Roger, let's run down a few that I have here. So you'll enter your reestablishment period, which for me is to there. And the AICPA course. I'm sorry, Roger, go ahead.
I just want to point out to people that, okay, now you see that the terminology has changed, and it says select the reestablishment period, and it's that's the July 1st to June 30 dates.
And that says CE period for continuing education. You'll see course responses. So I've entered, it basically kind of remembers every one that I've entered from different course materials. So a lot of times you don't have to re-enter it, but I'm going to enter a couple of items here. Was this a self-study course? No, because these were webinars. Enter the date. So on this one is 11. Whoop. You have to be careful as to where you start. And the name of the course, this was an AICPA Town Hall series. This is the ethics code. So if this was an ethics course, you would enter that specific ethics code. Make sure when you're entering this information, you enter every category. These are required. These red stars are required, so you have to enter it. So in this case, this was TB hours. So you have to put 0 for ANA, 1 for TB, 0 for behavioral, 0 for ethics, and then the credit type. I was a participant. And then click Next. Now, at that time, you can upload that certificate if you want. If you want, you can upload that certificate right now. You do that by clicking the next screen. But if you want to enter multiple courses at one time, you can go ahead and enter those multiple courses. So in this case, I'm going to go down and in this instance, I took again, you're going to enter your dates. In this instance, I took another AICPA Town Hall. This one was 11/16. Oh, sorry. AICPA Town Hall. Again, you have to enter the 0. Whoop, it was actually TB, sorry. 0 behavioral and 0 ethics, and the credit type was participant. Again, at that point in time, you can hit the next button, which would take you to wanting to submit the actual backup documents. But I'm going to enter one more from the AICPA just to show you. So on this one, again, select it. Course providers AICPA. Enter the date of completion. And this one was 12/19/2023. And the name of the course was New Quality Management Standards for Monitoring and Remediation. And this one was 1 hour of A&A. And the credit type was participant. So I've entered those 3 AICPA courses. So at this time I figure, well, I want to upload those documents. So from here, you would just click next.
You might. Okay.
I'm sorry, we can go back.
Roger? You might slide the screen to the right to show people that they can see a little more information to the right.
Mm-hmm.
So,
there you go. So it's got those. You can edit it. You can remove it if you made a mistake or whatever the case. But it's those 3 items. So I go next. So then I'm going to attach a file. So I can choose a file to let everyone know I've got a file that's got all of my certificates for 2024. And I've got all of my certificates listed there. So I know I entered Town Hall series for 11/2. So it only lets you do it one at a time. And then you choose the file again. 11/16. Sorry, I didn't hit it. 11/16. Open. And then also.
And Paul,
yeah.
Before you leave right there, so I want to make 2 comments.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, I want to compliment Paul that he's got his files of his documentation or his proof of completion. He's got them very organized. He's got them named adequately so he can go back and find them if he needed to. And that kind of naming or applying a naming convention, helps us in going through these files once the PDFs are stored. The other piece I would mention is we have had a few problems with people who have in their file names, they've put some like characters other than names or letters. I think your underscores are fine, but people were putting like some and signs.
Or a dash for a date, because dash doesn't work. An underscore would work, but not a slash.
Yes, and it took us a little while to figure out what was going on, but our system won't upload, a file name like that. So I caution everybody, be careful. Try to keep your file names pretty standard.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and Roger, I made a mistake. So what I did, so open, that's that one. I didn't hit attach. I just chose the file the next time. So you have to hit attach. So this was my original one. So I originally started doing it wrong because I chose the next file immediately. So you would attach that one. So now it's up there. You see that one. So then choose a file again. And then I did this date, open, and then attach that. That gives me the second one. And then for the third one, this was the new quality management standards, and then attach that one. So now I've done all three of those courses. And so now I've got a document for each one. And I think it's important when you rename your certificates, name your certificates the same name as the course. I mean, literally, sometimes I get a certificate downloaded as a PDF. It's just called certificate, and that doesn't match up with anything. So from there, I would hit next. And it's going to come down and ask, it's got these attachments down here, and then you have to submit. So you will lose, Roger, I think I'm right, you will lose all this information if you do not hit the submit button. So you can enter 50 courses there, you can upload 50 PDFs. If you don't hit submit, all those will be gone the next time you come to this screen, correct?
Yes. And a lot of people have misinterpreted that. And I apologize to the group. But I mean, it is what it is, but you have to hit submit. There's no save feature. There's no, like, you can't, like Paul was saying, all up until now, if you stopped and walked away or whatever and didn't finish, so I'm saying you would lose your work. Effectively, this is your first opportunity to save and save it to the system.
And I think it's good. That's why I think it's good to enter them several times a year instead of waiting until once at a time, because you may get interrupted. You may be in the middle of this process and then get interrupted from a client call or whatever may be the case. Does this screen time you out, Roger? Do you get timed out, or does it stay up unless you leave your...
Wow, that's a good question, Paul. I don't know the answer to that.
Okay. All right. Maybe that's something that we can look at to see if there's a timeout on this at all. Okay. But when you hit the submit button, you will come to another screen that's going to ask that you confirm this information, and it gives you some other information, but it comes down and says, I understand that falsification of any information on this application may result in administrative action, including a fine, suspension, revocation of the license. So you have to click yes, that you understand that, and then submit again.
And again, I would stress what Paul said, that affirmation is another critical step. Every time when I use the term a session, every time you sit down and go to input some courses, you have to do that affirmation. That's a critical step.
Right. So you will be sent an email that will come from DBPR.
This is where the system, like Paul's saying, the system sends you an email and confirms back to you the information that you input, right? And it gives you a chance. You can look over it. If you see a mistake, you can go back into the system and edit. But and then at the very bottom, it's going to have the file names of, in this case, or this is an old one, right? So
yeah, this is an old one. So the only one that I updated for this one was this last one that shows the attachments, right? Yeah. So if I would have done this current one, it would have shown all three and those attachments of all three, I believe, correct?
Yes. And this part is interesting, that this confirmation that will come to you, it will list all of the hours that you have previously input.
Yes. It depends on how many times you input it, right? Depends on...
Yeah.
Right.
But the attachments, this very last section, is only going to be for the session that you just keyed. So if
Mm-hmm.
if you only uploaded one file in that session, it's going to show that one file. But
Yeah.
if you had previously input like 10 courses, you're going to see all the details on all 10 courses.
Yeah. So in this case, you'll see I've got 14 pages showing all the courses that I have input, right?
Very
And then down at the end, it's only going to show the attachments of the most recent one that I input, I believe. Isn't that correct,
good.
Roger?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, the attachments. So, okay. I wanted to mention one other item that Roger gave a point at. Let me share a different screen. So, Roger, let me pull up my CPE tracker, my transcript. So, Roger, you mentioned right before we got on, if someone wanted to, they could take like this FICPA tracker and they could enter it like as of the last date I had something updated, 2/7/24. And they could enter, will you enter the course name, Roger? Did you suggest maybe enter FICPA sponsored courses?
Yes. So if a person found themselves in a situation where they had 5 or 6, I'm just picking a number, 5 or 6 courses on a transcript, they can use the transcript as a proof of completion. And we've gone so far as to tell people that, like in this scenario, that this document you're showing us, which is a FICPA transcript, they could just put FICPA sponsored courses. Then they could put the last date, like February 7th, 2024 for your completion date, and then just put in 64 A&A hours, 8 hours of technical business, 8 hours of ethics, and just call for the course name, just put FICPA sponsored courses.
Mm-hmm.
Something
Just
like that,
enter
or just
one
say
total and one transcript, right?
Yeah, FICPA
Mm-hmm.
transcript.
So if they all took FICPA or all took some other vendor that had and this has to be a signed document, a verified document of the transcript, right?
Yes.
They could do that. So if people are behind and they don't get a chance to do it every quarter and they're way behind as a way to catch up, that would be an acceptable method, correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So that's a good thing. That's one good thing about taking. As you can see, I take from 3 or 4 different vendors just because of my needs and what I need for my job. But you know, if you took it all from the FICPA or you took it all from one vendor and they had something similar to this, that would be an easy way to get it done. Okay, Roger, is there anything else really?
Do we want to show them an ethics course?
Yes. So I'll enter it, but won't actually keep it on there because I've already entered it before. So let me get my certificate, my ethics certificate.
While you're looking for it, I would share with the group that, so if you notice just above the A&A hours, it says ethics course code. And the challenge you will have is some providers will generate a proof of completion, a certificate, and it'll have various code numbers on it, maybe codes from other states, maybe from NASBA, whoever. But you need to find the DBPR course code for that ethics course, and then input it in the system. We wrote a letter to all the ethics providers and asked them to be sure and print or include the course code on their proof of completion, and it's 7 digits. So if you see, and so 2 or 3 things about that. You can go on our website and there's a list of these courses. There's not that many of these courses. So it's easy to look down through there and probably find the course that you took from that provider. And if you don't see a 7-digit code, you can match up a course code against what we have and work from there. But there are, like you'll see here on Paul's transcript from FICPA, there's a 7-digit code leading zeros, and most of them look like that.
And there's a separate one because I did ethics for governmental CPAs. I taught both of these courses actually, but there's a separate code, so it's not just one code for the FICPA. Each different type of ethics code has kind of its own number because this is very specific for governmental.
Yes, each course has its own course number.
Mm-hmm. So to enter that, let's go back and enter that information. So I took this for 1823. Name of the course was, in this case, ethics course code in this case was the 7-digit number. Hour 0, hour 0, hour 0. Ethics hours 4. Credit type, participant or instructor in my case. And then you would go on and it took it. So if you didn't enter that 7-digit code, it would come back and say, "Whoop, we got a problem," correct, Roger?
Yes, and most likely what it'll do is it will treat that ethics course as a behavioral course. And it won't give you credit for taking a Florida ethics course. So you got to get that course code in there. And if you look back and you didn't put the course number in there, just go back and edit that line and add your course code.
All right, sounds good. Good luck, everyone. And if you need additional information, you can call the FICPA. You can call me directly. We can try to coach you along. I think there are several videos already out there as far as the reporting tool and why it's being required, etc. So please visit our website and please visit the department's website, the Board of Accountancy's website. A lot of good information out there on it, Roger. You did a really good job.